So today we are going to welcome you in our laboratories where we are going to make our facial oil together. Before you do anything, you have to tar your weighing scale. Tar means to make sure that it is at 0 grams. So we usually measure in grams because of the is on percentage ndogo when it comes to all cells that are confused. So keep it on grams. That's very important. Hello, welcome once again to Camry Formulation Academy. As per our previous video, we promised to make our facial oil today. So today we are going to welcome you in our laboratories where we are going to make our facial oil together. Consider this like your first example in school and your first assignment. So we are going to make it together, and then we are going to attach a working sheet to allow you to make your own later on. Sasa hapa ni kama shule. Like we are going to make one together with me, and then on your own you're going to make the other. So they are all given. So the sheet will continue the one that you're going to make, and then the other one that you're going to make on your own, they will all be attached on the description link. So follow the description link to check the PDF that you're going to make and the one that you are going to make and give us feedback on it. So like we said last time, a facial oil is an anhydrous product that contains purely oil. Unlike creams and like lotion, this one has no water, it's just oils. And then we describe the categories of our oil. If you didn't watch that video, I'll put the link also so that you can go back and watch that video on what makes a facial oil, like what makes a good facial oil and something that you can make for your family and friends. So we mentioned about the carrier oils, we mentioned about the aromaceuticals, we mentioned about the botanical extracts and the occlusives, that is the esters and the silicones, and then we mentioned about antioxidants. So remember those 5 things: carrier oils, aromaceuticals, botanical extracts, occlusives, that is the silicones, and then we have the antioxidants. So that is basically what makes our facial oil. So today we said we are going to make that particular facial oil, like our first facial oil, and we are very excited. So our first facial oil contains grapeseed. Before you go further, there is a worksheet, and I've attached also a clean worksheet. I'll put a clean worksheet also in the description box so that you can print as many worksheets as possible, so that whenever we speak about any formulation, you just write your own worksheet for your own practice anytime that you are ready. So this is a worksheet for today. So our facial oil, first of all, it contains grapeseed oil. Before we go further, I know most of you will be like, Betty, why grapeseed? We talked about the skin types. So I said for you to watch the skin type video. If you are oily skin, if you are dry skin, if you are combination skin, if your skin is very sensitive, you'll have a different carrier oil depending on what works for you. So if you have acne at the moment, if you have whatever condition that you have, check on the skin types and then choose what works best for you. So the link on the video is still there also for the skin types alone. Then now we have grapeseed. Grapeseed, we said, is very moisturizing and has a high antioxidant content. So atutake mafuta yetu iende rancid, even if it doesn't have preservative, you have to prevent it from oxidation. That is what you have kept saying. So grapeseed is fast and medium absorption, so that's good for my skin, because as of now, probably most of the people who have followed my journey, they know how I've suffered with eczema. It's an hereditary thing, so the entire family has eczema, from my parents to my children. So for that, I did something that's very fast and medium absorbing. It doesn't have to sit on the skin for long. Yes, my skin is dry, however, not that dry. So the second selection that I took was calendula. Calendula oil is very soothing. It's a very soothing, very calming oil and very good. It's what is good for even babies. It's what is in our healthy glow product for babies. So that's a very good oil. So calendula oil makes 58.08, grapeseed makes 6% of this product. Then we have vitamin E as our functional antioxidant, the first one. Then we have rosemary CO2 extract. So unlike body oil, facial oil, as you have noticed, you have used 2 antioxidants. Reason being, vitamin E is very good in reducing the oxidation process of our products. However, the rosemary CO2 extract has a very longer shelf life. So that's what you have done. Rosemary CO2, remember, it comes as a concentrate. Like we gave the analogy of buying juice in already diluted, like the juice that you just drink directly. Example is Del Monte, and then buying the quencher, the one that's diluted, the one that you have to dilute it yourself. So CO2 is like the concentrated one. So you use in very small percentages, and you have to dilute in your carrier oil. So in the long run, it gives you much better benefits compared to vitamin E. Then our selection of essential oils, we chose bergamot. Bergamot is, we love bergamot because it really helps to calm the skin. So as you have noticed, all our products, especially for pimples, for people who want to clear pimples and acne, they have bergamot as their essential oil. That is our blemish day control, our clear skin lotion. They all have bergamot. Bergamot is very good as an aromaceutical for clearing acne and pimples. Then we have rosebuds. Rosebuds, basically they are the active botanicals. They are the herbs that you talk about. So what happens when you put herbs in your facial oil? They have very good functionality. Let's say if calendula is very soothing, it's what makes the calendula oil. Basically, rosebuds is what makes the rose oil or the rose fragrance. It has very high antioxidant properties and it has very good anti-inflammatory properties. And apart from that, it can have some very minor, it brightens the skin a little bit, like very mild though. So if you put the bud in it, basically, even if you're using the products, it continues to harvest the nutrients from the rosebud. So these are just herbs that are dried, that they have not been extracted. Like no oil has been extracted from it, it's in its pure form. So just put it, and then with time, the oils helps to extract from the herb. So that is what you're going to use as our active botanical. So with that said, with that written, as a reminder, we always carry our worksheet to the laboratory. Like I said, even if the formula is in your laptop, you have to print it and carry it in the laboratory. Yes, you can carry your laptop. That one I can't refuse. However, this is for your own protection. The economy is not that good. So if you go with the laptop and then water spills on it and oil spills on it, you'll end up destroying your laptop. So you're better off having something aside. And apart from that, whenever you have a worksheet, it's easy for you to just tick so that you don't forget. For now, the ingredients are very few because they're just 6 ingredients, so they might tempt you to think, I don't need to tick because I'll just be going step by step. However, as we proceed, we realize that we have like 10 steps, we have 15 steps as we make our lotions, as our creams. So I'll advise you to always carry a worksheet and a pen so that you tick. Imagine as you continue formulating and you forget to put your antioxidant. You see the entire product will just go rancid. And yet, it's something that you could have ticked, and then you could have just reminded yourself, I've not ticked vitamin C or rosemary CO2, then you just go back and place it in your product. So that is one reason why we carry our worksheet. Yes, it's a kindergarten style, but start there before you upgrade. So for that, I welcome you to our laboratory. We are going to make the formulation together. So welcome. As we start making our facial oil, one thing that I'll always remind you guys, aki msisahau worksheet. Remember we are starting. Utagraduate tu, ichukulie kama uko nursery. Unaambiwa kila saa practice your handwriting. So you'll graduate. So remember your worksheet. So with the worksheet, our first product is grapeseed, 60 grams. So before you do anything, you have to tar your weighing scale. Tar means to make sure that it is at 0 grams. And then you have to confirm that it is on grams. Like this weighing scale can take grams and ounce. So we usually measure in grams because of the is on percentage ndogo ndogo. When it comes to ounces, that are confused. So keep it on grams. That's very important. So we said it's 60 grams. We're going to use our 250 ml beaker. Make sure it's very dry because this is a pure anhydrous product. Then place it. You see, the beaker itself has 102 grams. So we are going to tar again to make sure that it goes back to 0. Like we said, our grapeseed, we buy them in bulk. So for you, you're going to use this tiny grapeseed to pour. As we buy them in bulk, and we want 60 grams. So if you want 60 grams, you just weigh your 60 grams. Ensure that everything goes in. Even if it pours outside, you'll just wipe later on. Then, okay, it may sound vibaya. Ensure to umepour in the beaker your 60 grams. So you are there. Once you've measured your 60 grams, tar once again. Back to 0. So as you continue doing your formulation, you'll get used to amounting the grams to your particular batch size. So our batch size currently is 120 grams. So later on, you realize that probably you want to make a batch size of 500. So utaendelea tu ukijazia, like utafanya 60 then on top of it, 58. But for now, since you're starting, tar back to 0. Okay, you have turned back to 0. So our second oil is calendula oil. This is our calendula oil. I don't know if you can see from there. Calendula oil, we don't get it locally, we import it. So this is how calendula oils look like. Our calendula oil, we want 58.8 grams. Then something else. Wakati wa kumwaga kama hautakuwa steady and you might be afraid that utapoa on the side, you can place it in a different beaker, then pour. Once that's done, you return whatever has remained. That is also a hack that you can use. So now our calendula will need 58.08. We'll just do 58 here, 0.8 the other side. So here we just need our 58. Be steady, very steady, very slow. Remember, it adds in 1 gram. So make sure you're very slow, steady. Place it aside, and then you have to note. Remember the tick. This is the work of the book, the sheet. So to tumeandika up on the side, we still have 0.8 to measure in the small scale. Then we have vitamin E 0.6, bergamot 0.6, rosebud 0.12. As you've remembered, this scale can only do 1 gram. So that means we have to change the scale. So let's change our scale. We have now switched on our small scale, the one that can measure up to 0.01 grams. So remember, we still have a 0.8 gram from calendula. So the other hack that I want to show you when you want to measure, first, if you don't have the dropper or the pipette, you can use your bottle top to get the value. Or if you don't have them, use a dropper. Using your dropper, get your calendula, then come slowly up to 0.8. Then leave it at that. So once you're done with your calendula, you have to remember you have to put your vitamin E, bergamot, rosebud. So the same way you have your vitamin E, 0.6. So the way this vitamin E is packed, it has a dropper on its own. It has a very good seal. So you just squeeze until you get your 0.6. So that is 0.25. So whenever you go online and you just see them adding products and they just use a dropper and they don't measure, that is also one way of getting irritation on your skin. Because remember, all these products, they have to add up to 100%. So you don't have to overuse or underuse. So that's why you have to put everything to measure. So after vitamin E, we have our rosemary. Once again, this is where a dropper comes in handy. Remember, it's in concentrated form. So rosemary is very thick. You can either use a dropper once you have placed your tar, or you can just pour just directly. It's a very thick, so it can hardly pass. See, just take your time. Take your time for it to balance. You just need a 0.02. You have your rosemary. Remember to tar. So we have bergamot essential oil. So when it comes to bergamot essential oil, this is our bergamot. It's in bulk. So basically, when you use it, the same way, you use a dropper. Remember, as we buy in bulk, because we use them in bulk. So as my advice stands, buy everything in small quantities. So I'm just showing you there. That is 0.12. Just be patient because it's your first time. When you get the hang of it, everything will just flow easily. For now, just take time. There. Exact. Then now, you're done. Once that's done, we have our last bit, that is the rosebuds. So rosebud, because it's this is our rosebud. Remember the herbs that I told you about, the herbs that you can use, and then over time, the nutrients, the oil draws nutrients from them. So when it comes to herbs and you're not sure whether you get your herbs, this is not a paid ad. I'm just using them because they are food grade, and whatever is good for your body, it's also good for your skin. So if you want to get thyme nutrients, you can simply just get them from the supermarket also. This is also one way of getting your herbs and ensuring that your herbs are certified and they're FDA approved. As you can see here, they have been certified by Halal, by KEBS, and by Food Body. So it's suitable for all vegetarians. So this is one way of also getting your herbs. So for this, I can vouch for them because I've been using them for some time. But for items like rosebud, I know Naivasha is very good with flowers, so you can confirm with them if you have a supplier who can. I know they just do for exports, but you can get them if you have someone in the flower farms. But they don't sell most of them from the flower farms if you have someone. But if you are not sure of whether they are suitable for you, then you have to get your local farmer or import. Like ours, we import them. So if you get this one is a rosebud, so it has not yet sprouted. That's why the buds are very tiny. And then when you leave your weighing scale for a while, it will just go off. So switch it back on. Don't worry. Tar again. Once the tar is on, you just weigh. Using a tiny spoon like this, you're going to get 0.12 grams. Patience. And make sure you don't shake. That is another thing. Come on, you talk shake. Be weighing them separately. Don't weigh them together like this because you'll end up destroying the entire batch. So if you shake, do that. Then once that's done, you have weighed everything. So, but they are separate because one we weighed in a small scale, one we weighed at a big scale. That's very easy because they are all up to scale. You just mix them together like that. Once that's done, use your spoon to ensure that you get the entire nutrient. Then just pour them together. Because like I tell you, rosemary CO2 is very heavy, so it tends to remain on the beaker. So that's why you're using a spoon in this part. So once you scoop everything, use your spatula to mix them together. So you can see it was very easy and it looks very cute. Then from here, you simply pour it in your jar. You can pour it in the tiny dropper kind of jar or in the 120 ml. Because our batch was 120, we're going to pour it in a 120 bottle. So once the mixture has settled, as you can see, pour it in your jar. For today, since the batch size was 120 grams, we are going to pour it in a 120 ml beaker. So, like I said, for the first time, and you are not sure whether to use a clear beaker because of the choice of oils, use an amber beaker. So you pour. As you can see here, this is our oil, the one that you've just made together. There, with the rosebud in it. Then from here, you just place your label and you're good to go. Now, one thing that you have noticed, making our simple facial oil, we have not used any oysters or occlusive or silicone alternatives. So for usage of occlusives, I will invite you to our Patreon page where we are going to learn extensively on how to use the occlusives because it requires a wide, like, una need kusoma soma. So feel free to join our Camry Circle Patreon where we are going to be demystifying all these percentages. We're going to teach everything in detail so that you can actually commercialize this hobby. That is if you are interested in upgrading your knowledge. So welcome to our Camry Circle Patreon. With that, we shall put a link there next time. So if you want to be on the waiting list, feel free to call. Our numbers are down there. And then when you're making your facial oil and you have tested your facial oil, kindly give us feedback. Share with us how it feels, how it makes your face feel, because this is a very good soothing facial oil, especially for someone who has blemishes. And then when you make the second one, the massage and the one that is going to be attached in the description, kindly give us feedback. Share with us how it feels and give us feedback, and also explain to us if you want us to upgrade or if you want us to make a different type of facial oil. Feel free to call us, feel free to interact with us, comment on our videos below, and let's meet next time as we continue learning together. Thank you. See you next time.